Hi everyone. Welcome to back to Costume Co and another live stream. And tonight we're doing this is just sort of a surprise. Like I didn't even know we were going to be doing this, but I've been chatting with William over the last few days. And anyway, William Swift was on a live stream we had him on. I think about 3 months ago or so. William. And
hmm
he since then he has opened up his costume museum. It's actually William, tell us what it's called. It's
Sure. Yeah, it's called Enchanted Fantasy Film Museum. It is based in Maplewood, Minnesota. It's Minnesota's first film museum ever. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure is the biggest collection of film costume on display in all of America right now. We have 145 costumes on display. So,
That's incredible. Yeah. So,
mhm,
as some of you might know, like Debbie Reynolds used to have, I think, the biggest costume collection, but of course, she ended up
mhm,
selling it all off. So,
mhm.
anyway, so William, since I last had you on, like we went through, you had everything in your house. We went through a lot of the
Yeah,
costumes. Since
yeah.
then, so much has happened. So, tell us all about
Yeah.
how you got this all together. This is so amazing. I'm so proud of
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. It was not easy by any means. When I spoke to you back in, I think, November, early November, I was ready to start looking at spaces to try and open up this film museum that I've been working towards for about 5 years. I finally felt like I was at a point where I think it was time to take the next step, especially with the collection. I finally felt like, all right, my collection's somewhat complete enough to do a display publicly. I felt that I had enough iconic costumes to finally do this. Um, and so right off the bat, I started looking at some spaces to do this myself. And then I started contacting local film festivals and museums to see if they might be interested in partnering to do something. And I had begun preparations to partner with a local film festival here and started doing the prep for that for about 3 months. But unfortunately, that kind of fell through with logistics and they were a little apprehensive with the finances. But at that point, I had started to already source a lot of like mannequins and display platforms and display cases and such to be able to properly display stuff. To the point where my house was just, I mean, it was already packed back when I was talking to you back in November. But I mean, oh my goodness, there was just display cases everywhere, mannequins, and I was getting really claustrophobic. So I was like, this has to happen. So when that fell through, I thought it might be a good idea to look at local malls because malls right now are really dwindling kind of everywhere in America, just with online shopping and then of course with the pandemic. And so I toured a few of them and Maplewood was really accommodating, very kind right off the bat, and very excited about this opportunity. And so I'm very fortunate to have brokered a deal with them for a very large space, which is a little nerve wracking because the rent's not cheap. But they were nice enough to give me a couple months free rent to get started, which was really the make it or break it for me because I have barely any money whatsoever, so I just couldn't afford to do obviously rent right off the bat in addition to getting all the necessary assets in order to fully display stuff. I mean, Heidi, you can't imagine how much it costs to just get museum level signage or just the stands for the signs or just curtains. I mean, it's all
Oh
really
yeah.
added up. So it's been really hard, but we're here now and, we're all set up. It took me about a month to set up. We had about 45 car trips from my house here through various different friends. And of course, my lovely Mason has helped with a lot of it. Um, for the most part, everything we see was set up by myself. Of course, I had people here and there to help with a few things. Obviously, I'm very creative. So, it's been really nice to kind of let my creative free flag kind of fly with this space and kind of, really go all out with the fantasy for people to come and enjoy. So it took about a month to set everything up and just get everything here. I mean, it's so weird now because my house is so empty, Heidi. It's so
Yeah,
weird.
I
It's like
know.
I've died, and you know, I'm having this weird out of body experience.
Absolutely.
Um, but
Um,
yeah, so
Mason, I just want to say hello to a few people. So people are just starting to come in. So if you don't know what we're doing here, William Swift, we had him on a live stream in November. That's him there. He is going to give us a virtual tour of his new museum in Minnesota. And I want to
mhm.
say hi to Natural Selection and Carl and Mother Roy are all here to watch. And then if you're watching it on the replay as well, we'll put some information about the museum in the description below. So if any of you are in the Minnesota region, is it a suburb of
It
Minneapolis?
is a suburb. Yep, it's
Okay.
about 20, 30 minutes from Minneapolis, so not
Okay.
too far at all.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
So it's in a mall, and like right now you're just sort of standing at the window display, which faces
I
out into the
am.
mall.
Yes,
You have
yes,
a nice little lounge area there. Do you want to tell
we
us a little?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I figured I'd take you guys through on a
Mhm.
little virtual tour here. We have about 15,000 square feet of space to go through.
Wow, that's
Um,
massive.
yes, yes, yes. So this might be a longish video, so I hope you guys stick around to the end. We got some cool stuff. Right behind me in the window display here, you can't see it right now because we have the gate closed, so we can do this with you guys. But we have Queen Elizabeth's costume from The Crown. Imelda Staunton wore this in the last season of the show. Period stuff is really hard to get because oftentimes they'll recycle everything into other productions. I know, Heidi,
Yeah,
you probably already
absolutely.
know that.
Oh yeah.
Um, but you know, I
So
think getting something.
that's a contemporary dress then. She's
It
wearing.
is,
Okay.
yeah. So this would have been, I believe, from the 80s, I believe, roughly. Um, so,
Carl's
but
wishing you
I,
congratulations, by the way, William.
oh, thank you, Carl. Carl is one of my oldest friends.
You're kidding
He's,
me.
yeah, I think that's Carl anyway.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, he was one of my best friends in the city here and helped me kind of become who I am today. So, hi, Carl. Uh, but yeah, so I found it very important to acquire something from the Crown just because it's such a prestigious show. It doesn't really fit with fantasy, really, because that's kind of what, you know, I mostly collect, hence the name Enchanted Fantasy. But some stuff I just love too much to pass up, you know, like obviously with Anne, our
Mhm.
dearest, lovely Anne. But
Yes,
yeah,
and I still have
so
those pieces to send you. I haven't forgotten. I was saying
yeah,
that to my husband the
yeah,
other day to make your collection complete. So I'm going to do
sure,
that.
sure,
I
sure.
have to get your address, and then we'll do that
Yeah, sure, sure. Yeah, we can talk afterwards. But yeah,
for sure.
The Anne collection's really cool for me to finally get everything out on display because
Mhm.
you know I've only had so much room in my house to display stuff. So, you know, unfortunately I haven't been able to have the entire family together. So this is the first time that they've kind of been up again together since the show ended. So I think that's
Mhm.
pretty cool. But we'll get to them later.
And I messaged Dan Dixon that you were opening
Yeah,
your
yeah,
museum. So
yeah.
I know were you in contact with her? Did she end up
I
connect?
was, yeah, yeah. We've
Oh, great.
emailed. She's helped a lot. She sent some concept art that we've
Oh,
used on some of the signs.
she's so
Um,
lovely. She's really
she
lovely.
is. She really is.
Hmm.
And she helped me figure out some extra things that I needed for Anne's costume. So she sent me a link to where they purchased for stockings. So that was something that I had
Oh,
inquired about. So I got the
yeah.
exact same ones that they used for the show, which is
Isn't that
really cool.
amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
she's doing so well now too. She's got a new movie out with
Good, good, good.
yeah. So anyway, I told her and then maybe she could go down and do a visit.
Yeah, yeah,
I think
yeah.
that would be awesome. And then when I
I
go
think
to
so
Winnipeg to
too.
see my brother, I'll come down.
Please, yeah, that'd be so
Mhm.
cool to actually meet you in person and have you out
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really lovely because obviously I spoke with Anne about the Anne stuff, which is really cool. But I've also spoken to Eduardo Castro for Once Upon a Time, and he actually follows the Facebook page and has commented on some of the posts that we've made, which is really cool. You know, and that's part of the reason why I do this is, you know, I want to be able to highlight the work of the costume designers. Oftentimes, I feel like they just don't get enough like love and praise
Hmm.
for the stuff that they do, because when we think of characters, we often think of like the costume, right? And that's because of the costume designers, and so the plan is for me to eventually, as I go along, to do spotlights on some of the designers. And we've done that a little bit so far with Eduardo Castro, and then Cynthia Nixon with the series of unfortunate event stuff. But I plan to do that obviously with Anne as well. But those sign placards are so expensive right now, so that's down the line.
It would be great if you were able to like reach out to the studios and let them know that you've got the collection.
Yeah. Well, I'm a little apprehensive about that because I don't know how they would feel about it to an extent, because I know,
Oh, okay. Sure.
I know, especially like Disney and Warner Brothers are a little bit weird about their stuff getting out sometimes.
I heard this, that they actually destroy the costumes from their
they
movies.
do, and that's oftentimes
just the worst thing you've ever heard.
Yeah,
I can't even believe that.
It's horrible. It's understandable because I mean, there's so much stuff that comes out of one production. I mean, they just don't need everything. So I get it, but at the same time, it's like let the fans have it.
Absolutely.
I mean, and especially, I'm surprised that they didn't do sales during the pandemic, because I mean, they would have made so much money if they had sold off some of the stuff that they had from some of the films that came out during the pandemic, like Mulan or some of those other ones.
Yeah. And actually, I haven't had a chance to talk to you, but I was watching this video recently. It was a panel for House of the Dragon. And they were talking about apparently the costumes from Game of Thrones they've been in archives. He said it's kind of like, Raiders of the Lost Ark, where they have that giant room with all the cases, the boxes that are stamped.
Sure.
And anyway, the archives are going to be closing. So all of that stuff's going to be starting to go up for auction. Isn't that crazy?
That, so I have a little tea there. So Ryan Condal, I do. So Ryan,
spill the tea.
I'm spilling the tea. This lady will whistle down. So Ryan Condal actually is a fellow collector. So he's actually in the collecting community. So I think that he's going to allow the House of the Dragon stuff go up for auction because he's a big collector. Way back when, probably, I think, end of 2019, I had heard from a source who gets all the HBO stuff that they were going to get the Game of Thrones stuff. I spoke directly with them and they told me that verbatim. But there was a hiccup because HBO decided to open up a studio tour. So right now there's a studio tour in Belfast, which I actually went to when I was on my trip in Europe. And it was very, very cool and very in-depth, and they had all the costumes there. So with that
going over.
Yeah.
I don't know this person, a new person. Nice, welcome.
Hi. With that in mind, I don't know if that rumor is true, if that stuff will go to auction. I hope that it will. But even if it does, I don't know if I'll be able to afford anything because I'm sure it's going to be just so expensive.
Oh, absolutely. Maybe some minor characters.
Minor characters.
Sure. Well,
but
William, since you and I last met, I met with Prop Store and we did we did a show and tell with them.
Yes.
And they had a small collection of Game of Thrones. They had like
I saw that.
Starks. Oh,
yeah.
You did? Okay. Yeah. So that was only like 5 or 6 things though. So I thought when I saw that, I'm like, I wonder if the dam is going to break. And
I hope so, because I would die to get a Khaleesi costume. So I would just die.
Absolutely.
They just sold off all the Westworld stuff. And I was really hoping to get one of Dolores's blue dresses, but they only had the one. So suffice to say, that thing went up way past my budget.
Sorry, which show was that? Was Dolores?
Westworld.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. Although there must have been multiples though, I think.
You'd think, but they only had one for sale. So I mean, maybe there'll be another auction down the line. I mean, my guess is HBO probably
thanks so much. I'm up and going over. William, I don't know if you can see the comments. You probably can't. Can you?
I can't.
Oh, okay.
Nathan, can you see comments?
I'll read them to you as they come up.
Sure,
So Up and
please.
Going
Yeah.
Over says, hello, longtime viewer, not often stream participator. So welcome. And then Carl says, yes, Condell has a podcast here on YouTube about film prop collecting. And then Up and Going Over said, protection of brand integrity, those companies are wild. So yeah, so I'll try to read them as they come up, just because you can't see.
Sure.
So, and if you're just joining us, William is going to be taking us on a tour. He's sort of just giving us a bit of an overview of his new Enchanted costume museum in Is it Maple, Minnesota?
Maplewood.
Maplewood, Minnesota, or is it Maple? Is it Maplewood, the name of the town or the suburb?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's Maplewood Mall in Maplewood, Minnesota.
Yes. A lot of Maplewood. Yeah.
A lot of Maplewood. And as a Canadian, I love maple. It's my favorite. Carl loves to tease me about that. Anyway, so you're at the front entrance. By the way, I wish we could see the big poster you have there, but I did see your beautiful artwork. I used it for the thumbnail, by the way, of a unicorn and a beautiful fantasy. And so can I ask you, I think I asked you this earlier, how long have you been collecting?
I've been collecting now for 5 years. January 2019 was the first time I got anything. And I actually have my first prop in this back room that I can show you guys that really broke the dam and, got me into all this. So
yeah. Now, the chairs that you have in your little lounge there, are they just regular chairs or are they from
They are just regular chairs.
They're still very nice, though.
This chair is my grandmother's, and then these two we found randomly at Goodwill for $40. Yeah, and I was like, these are coming home with me. Yeah. Mason wasn't too happy with me because I had so much stuff, but yeah, they're just gorgeous. So
absolutely, I love. And you didn't have to reupholster them or anything?
No, they're in great condition.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, can I ask you? I haven't asked you this yet. When did you open the museum?
We opened on Saturday, so we've only been open, I think, 5-6 days now. 6 days.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
So this is like we're really we're like the first ones to kind of get a tour.
Yeah,
right?
You are. We're no, go for it.
Oh, I was going to say, so is the word starting to get out? Like it must, it takes a little bit of time. I know you have a Facebook
a little
page.
Bit. Yeah. A little bit. It's been pretty slow, to be honest with you. It's been a little hard to get people in the door just because, the people of Minnesota have never seen anything like this. So I think when they see the entrance here, they're kind of reminded a little bit of, I don't know if you've ever heard of Wisconsin Dells, but kind of like a kitschy little roadside kind of attraction thing that's kind of like a money grab for tourists.
Okay. Sure.
So it's been hard to kind of capture people's eye just because they don't really know what's back here. But the people who do go through are just completely floored with just the amount of stuff back there and the presentation of everything. So
you just need a little help getting the word out.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking of, it would be great for even events. Like if you had someone wanted to host an event, they could have an event there.
Yeah, we have a whole space that I plan to eventually do that. Hopefully have speakers and maybe even film premieres. And that
for sure. So so the world is your oyster.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so where should we start?
Yeah, so we can just start here in the entrance.
Okay.
So this is the main entrance with our
your
avenue of I was very inspired by Anne's little entrance into Green Gables here.
Wow. You know what? When I saw it, I was thinking of Bridgerton, but no, now that you say it, of course.
Yeah. It's a bit of a mix of both, for sure.
A mix of both, okay.
Yeah.
And you've got a nice little red carpet.
We do, yeah. You have to have the red carpet to come in. So iconic and such a big part of, movie making. So, yeah. So this is the main entrance here. We have the front desk. And then we have this back wall with some of my favorite art pieces from the house that I've collected over the years. One of the first things
he loves the red carpet entrance.
Oh, thank you, Carl. One of the first things that I wanted people.
Were the walls there already, or did you have to erect?
No, so I had to erect walls. So, so I was lucky enough, and I found these for free on Facebook Marketplace, which I didn't even have to paint them; they came like that. So
amazing.
It was just meant to be. That was one of the big things that I was not going to budge on for this. Is I wanted a front wall. I didn't want it to be a curtain. I wanted that classic like front wall entrance.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm one man with one income with a lot to do. So the rest of it, it's all mostly curtain city right now. But I think it's
I love
important
that
to.
color. That it's a beautiful color. And
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
what color is it? Like a teal, blue,
It
or
is. So it's different versions of teal. So we have like
so
a darker
pretty.
teal and
Mm-hmm.
a lighter one, and it's just gorgeous. And really plays well with the paintings that I already own with like all these purple themed paintings. So really, really cool. One of the things that I really wanted to highlight when people came in and have it be one of the first things that they saw was this painting that I have of Merlin, because I absolutely just adored Merlin so much. And Merlin was a show that they just archived everything or destroyed everything or recycled everything after the show ended. I was never able to get anything from Merlin. I've never seen anything from it. So I wanted to just kind of like highlight that. And it's been really kind of fun because we've had a lot of people come in and be like, oh, Merlin, oh, that's so cute. And so that's really,
There's
really
a
sweet.
pretty big fan base for that, isn't there?
There is. Yeah. Yeah. There very much
What
so.
do
It's
they
a big
call? What do
fantasy
they call?
show.
What are the fans called? Do they have a name?
I don't know if they do.
Merlinites?
That's what I was gonna say.
Merlinators?
Merlinites.
Merlinites. That
Yeah.
makes sense, right? 'Cause it's
Merlinites.
Merlin.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, Carl says, I have in real life wisteria like that outside my front door on my gate. They're beautiful in early spring. Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah. So gorgeous. So gorgeous.
Yeah.
But yeah, so here we have the front entrance into the exhibit. Little mushrooms here and a nice little archway for people to walk through as they come in.
Yeah, I love all the whimsy that you've added.
Yeah, thank you.
It's not all. It's you have such a creativeness, like a creative spirit.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I've always been very creative. I was a foster kid, so I really had to get creative in order to entertain myself as a kid because there just wasn't much to do. And but yeah, so it's paid off. But we have my mirror on the wall who tells me I'm the most fabulous one of all every day. Love that for me.
Prop?
No. I got that at Comic-Con. Okay. Yeah,
you got it at Comic-Con. I love it.
I did.
Hi,
yeah, Kitties. It was so cool.
Kitties, it is huge. Kitty says the place looks huge. How many square feet did you say it is?
It's 15,000 square feet.
Oh my gosh, amazing.
Yeah. So.
Kitties, you're here just in time. So William is just taking us through the front entrance, and we're about to see the collections.
Mm-hmm. So the very first thing oh no, go for it.
Oh, sorry, I keep reading the comments. I should not do that to you. Carl says Merlin was in an era of all the cool fantasy magic TV shows on WBCW Sci-Fi Channel in the 90s, early 2000s. Lots of great stories.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's really sad. Yeah, no, it's really sad. It was a good point, Carl. It's really sad because that classic Adventure of the Week style show, especially a fantasy style show, just doesn't exist anymore. It's died out.
There's a new show
sad.
that George Martin's working on called Dunk and Egg. It sounds like that might be kind of a sort of maybe that one would replace it.
I hope so. I mean, I also saw that they just released the first image of the Hedge Knight too. So and that looked really good just from that first image.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's called the Hedge Knight, but it's based on the Dunk and Egg series.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, I loved Game of Thrones, and then they just had to go and ruin it, and it's too soon. We won't talk about that.
Don't bring that up. Don't bring that up. People will be triggered.
But yeah, so the first thing that I wanted people to experience when they came into the exhibit was the world of the Enchanted Forest from Once Upon a Time. That's why I got into collecting. That show ended, and I needed a physical piece of that world because I was just so distraught when it ended, and I needed something physical for me to just like hold on to and have a memento of. And I just went on this huge like deep dive in the internet, and I just discovered this whole world that I just had no idea was out there. And I've been collecting ever since. So in here we have, I believe, 7 or 8 costumes from the show. I decorated this little display here myself. Mason helped a little bit, but
Oh,
I
by the way,
thought,
William, I want to mention that Mason is the one who's operating the camera. He's
yep,
doing the heavy lifting. He has to hold
he
the
is.
camera.
Yes,
So Mason, if you get tired at all, let us know. That's
yes. Heidi says
William's
if you get
boyfriend.
tired, I'll let us know. Yeah.
He's giving us a thumbs up.
Yes.
Thank you, Mason. Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, so when I was looking at this space, um, I saw this and I immediately knew what I was going to do with it because it's just so perfect for like a flower cascade. And I knew it was going to be perfect for the blue fairy, from once. Just highlights that costume so well. Um, One of my favorite displays in the entire thing. I think I did a really good job with creating that. Let's see, we'll take a round in a circle here.
Sure.
Uh, so over here we have Captain Hook's costume from Once Upon a Time.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I didn't get all of the pieces with this. I know, we've spoken about how, it's hard to get everything sometimes. So,
Mhm.
because, things just end up getting spread to the four winds in the costume trailer when the shows wrap. So it's so hard to keep the stuff together. So as, a costume designer myself, I do my best to, recreate the original look with the materials that I'm able to source myself. Um, but yeah, so still really cool. We have the original sword and the original hook, as well as the original shirt from the character. And then the pants are the same style pants that he wore, but they're actually Hercules pants from the show. But
Oh,
they're the
okay.
same. They're the same thing. So
Sure.
still pretty cool.
Now, and you were
But
saying,
that,
in case people missed it at the beginning, you were saying you have sort of connected with the designer.
yeah, Eduardo Castro.
Okay.
We've spoken a couple of times, and he follows the page and has commented a few times about stuff. One of the things that he had commented on actually was Belle's costume here from Once Upon a Time, obviously. But this costume, I didn't know if it was a deleted scene or something because if you can see here, the piping of her corset is blue, right? But in the
Yeah.
show, it's gold. So
Hmm.
I didn't know if maybe it was like an unfinished version or what, but he had commented and said that they made a lot of different versions for the show.
Okay.
So it's definitely from the show. I just don't know what scene it's from. It might be something that I just haven't found yet in the show, or it just might be one that they just didn't finish. But it all lines up with what she wore in the show, and especially with like the shirt and stuff. But one of the most iconic costumes from that show, it's instantly recognizable because Belle wore this dress probably in 20 some episodes over the course of the series.
Oh, yeah.
So
I
really
absolutely remember
cool.
it. Hmm.
Yeah, so really cool to have any version of that costume.
For sure. I want to say Up and Going Over says hello to Mason. She says hi, Mason, or they say hi, Mason.
They're
You
all
should
saying
just
hi to you.
Mason says, yeah. So he can
Yeah.
wave or whatever he
Yeah,
wants
he
to do.
can't hear us because I
I
have the
know.
headphones in.
And you can't read the comments. I'm so sorry.
That's
Uh
okay.
yeah, so sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's Belle. One of my favorite costumes. I love that character. Emile de Ravin, I've been a big fan of ever since Lost. So really cool to have something to honor her and her portrayal of Belle.
Thanks, Justin. Justin's here just giving me a little tidbit. He says, when you were doing the tour, I should switch to you just so that we can see better. There. How's that, everyone? Is that better? So what I've done is, William, I've put you on full screen. Thanks,
Oh,
Justin.
hi.
And Natural says, does anyone else remember the Beastmaster TV show? I don't. Do you, William,
I,
remember that?
I don't think I ever saw that. I remember like the Beauty and the Beast show on the CW with
Mhm.
Kristen Cruick from Smallville, but and obviously like the original Beauty and the Beast, but I haven't heard of Beastmaster.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah, I'll have to check it out. Sounds
Anyway,
cool.
I thanks, Justin, for that tip. Yeah, absolutely. It looks way better. We can get much better close look at everything. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, William.
um, yeah. So and then here we have some artwork from the show displayed. I have some of the original storybook pages from Once. I also have a map here from the show. Um, and then not to show you guys every single piece because that might take forever, but we have some of the artwork here, and then one of my personal favorites, we have the Black Knight here, one of the Evil Queen's henchmen. Super iconic. I would love to get one of Lana Priya's costumes. Lana Priya, if you ever see this, give me one of your costumes because
Absolutely.
she kept everything from the show, which understandably so. I mean, Heidi, I think she helped create a lot of those costumes. So if Eduardo didn't want some of them, they should obviously go to her because she worked so hard on creating those iconic Evil Queen costumes. But I'm hoping one of these days she might have like a charity auction or something where she lets
Oh,
at least one or two go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
But
she
yeah,
has
it's
the best
really,
costumes.
she does, and she's so lovely. It's interesting because Disney right now has a touring exhibition, the Heroes and Villains exhibition, and they actually have three costumes four costumes from once on display, but they have one of Hook's costumes on display. So it's kind of cool to have a Hook on display when a really big exhibit is touring the same character and same costume. So yeah, kind of cool. But yeah, and then over here in this little alcove, we have Miss Mulan here and Aurora. Getting Mulan was a really important thing for me. It's one of the very first costumes that I got from Once, and just overall. In the show, Mulan's a gay character. They very quickly retconned that after Disney had something to say about it. But still, canonically, she was in love with Aurora, which was such a really interesting twist on the character, and I think really important. It's not often where we get portrayals of gay characters in fantasy in Hollywood, which is really very sad. And this was 2013, I think, or 2012 where they had this, so very progressive for the time. I mean, they didn't really end up doing much with that or the character, unfortunately, but still really cool to have that representation, especially with it being Pride Month now.
Oh yeah,
Super cool.
absolutely. Justin's asking if we can see the sword. You had a sword on the wall there. I don't know if that's
Yes,
part of
this
the.
one.
Is that
Yeah.
Mulan's sword?
So this is actually Lancelot's sword from Once Upon a
Oh,
Time.
oh,
Yep.
okay.
So
Excalibur.
Sonequa O'Neill, I think, was the actor's name. He was in
Okay.
Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Super cool. It's a very long broadsword. It's made of bamboo flooring. Really, really cool. All the swords from Once are very hardy because they, use them a lot for fight sequences. So really cool to have that. We'll get to another really iconic sword from Once here in a moment. But yeah. So then, of course, we have Miss Aurora here from Once Upon a Time. This is one of the most beautiful costumes that I own.
Yeah. So
pretty. Just the color and the way that they draped all and layered all of this fabric was just really ingenious. Eduardo did such a wonderful job with this. And I especially love the corset here. In the show, she usually pairs it with this shawl, which I unfortunately wasn't able to get. But I did get her little purse, which I think is kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
And I did get her
William,
shoes as well. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question? You have all these really
Sure.
nice, I don't know what they're called, display cards. Did you have to have
these
all those
guys
printed? What are they called?
Yes. So they're just display signs.
Okay.
So my friend Michael Hegel, he actually made these for me for the museum. He's been actually really great helping do all of this. These guys are not cheap to make. I mean, I think they're like $40 a pop with shipping. And with 145 costumes, I mean, it's a lot. So I have yet to do these museum grade signs for all of them yet, just because it's just so expensive. But all of the big ones I've done so far. So yeah, he did such a great job.
They're beautiful. Sorry, I have a couple of comments and questions.
Sure.
One is Carl says Willow and Tara were a great couple, well ahead of their time too. Dark Willow was no joke either. Yeah. And then he also says he's talking about the sword, very conveniently placed in case you need to grab it and beat back any unruly guests too.
Yes,
I'm
that
sure
is
you haven't had
exactly
that
why it's
experience
there.
yet, right? But you never know.
Not yet. You never know. Every day is a new group of people. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And then Kitty
So,
has a question about one of the costumes. She says, "Can I
here,
ask, what is
Kitty.
the fabric on Aurora's dress? Is it a mix of like different kinds of fabrics?"
It is, yeah. So, Mason, if you want to get up close here, so they have this fabric
Oh, so
here,
pretty.
which matches the fabric that they
Oh,
actually have on the corset, and
yeah.
it sparkles. They put a lot of glitter in here, which is really
Mhm.
cool. And then this here, I've seen a clip of Eduardo talking about this dress. You can actually find it on YouTube. I believe it's the style of storytelling once upon a time on YouTube. But I believe his assistant came in with this fabric, and I believe it was a scarf that they had found
Oh,
that they tore up and added
mhm.
it to the dress. I might be wrong, but I think that's what he had said.
Yeah, it's
So
beautiful.
really ingenious. But wait, I think he said that so his assistant made these scarves and they decided to use that. So really, really cool. And it adds so much to this outfit, and you know, this is a very couture costume in my opinion. So
Mhm.
much so as I may or may not have let a friend wear this in the Palace of Versailles in Paris, and we ran around living our best lives,
That's amazing.
and yeah, Aurora's been to Paris now, which is really
That's
cool.
lovely. That would be a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
TV show name. Aurora,
Yes,
Aurora's been to
Aurora.
Paris.
Yeah,
Now
very
in
much
the show,
so.
does she wear a petticoat? I can't remember. Or is it sort of just like a soft drape like
I
that?
think I don't think she does. It's just a
Okay,
soft drape. Yeah.
sure. Okay,
Yep. And it's got
I
a
can
gorgeous
recall.
print on it. But
You
um,
and it's nice that you've got the pictures
yeah,
on your
yeah,
displays to show what it
yeah,
looked like in the show on the
yeah.
character, which is really cool.
Yeah. But yeah, and then all around here, I kind of have a bunch of the paper props. I got a lot of
Mm,
props from once.
sure.
So here we have some of the wanted posters from the show, including
Oh,
Snow's
I love
iconic
it.
wanted poster here.
Yeah.
Super cool. Um, and then we'll jump over here to this wall. Um, so I was lucky enough to get one of Granny's bows here from Ones, which is really cool, super
Oh,
iconic.
yeah.
Um, and then we have Grumpy's axe here from the show, used by the actor who was in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mhm.
Uh, his name is escaping me. If you see this, I'm so sorry, actor. But he played Grumpy, really cool. And then super important to me to get these characters. I have the embodiment of true love with Snow White here
Mm.
and Prince Charming. Um, and then, of course, Charming's iconic sword here from the show. Um, it's crazy that I have this set. You know, obviously, this is Charming's iconic brown leather doublet from all 7 seasons of the show. Um, and then, of course, Snow wore this costume. I believe this is one of the ones she wore the most,
Mhm.
all the way through up to season 6. Um,
And they
and
fell in love in real life and got
they
married.
did. They're still
Yes,
together.
it's so cute.
Um, yeah, they have kids together.
Yeah.
They've made it. I love that for them. They actually just appeared for like a that blue carpet premiere that Disney had for their merger of Disney Plus and Hulu. And it just made me so nostalgic. I'm like, why can't we have a
Absolutely.
Christmas special? Give us a Christmas
I
special
know,
in
no
Storybrooke.
kidding. That'd be
Yeah.
so good.
But yeah, super cool to get those guys. Um, Here we have Rumpelstiltskin's potion bottle rack from the
Oh,
show.
nice.
Obviously, I have one missing because that's like the true love that he was trying to bottle. Hence the
Mhm.
little heart sign there, really cute little
That's
Easter
sweet.
egg.
Yeah.
Um, and then in here we have a lot of the iconic props from the show. From the chip cup here, you've seen that before. I have the True Love potion egg, Snow White's hearts, and then one of my personal favorites is the Excalibur sword from the show from the
Oh,
fifth
yeah.
season.
And
Super
then where'd you get
iconic.
that display case? That's really nice too.
I actually found this in the back of
You
the
gotta
mall.
be kidding me.
They threw it out, and I was like, "I'll take that."
Oh, that's amazing. And then
Yeah,
so people
super.
can't touch anything, it's like you have to
Yeah,
get access by from the back,
yeah.
right? By the way,
exactly,
can I ask
exactly.
you, have you had
Yeah,
problems with people touching things like, or,
not yet. I
Oh,
mean, for the
okay.
most part, other than days that I have Mason here, I've mostly been working it myself.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been hard sometimes to flip between the back and the front, but
Mhm.
as far as I've seen, everyone's been very respectful, which is really nice. I've tried to put some distance between the barriers and the costumes on display just to be
Mhm.
safe. But some stuff, I have out in the open that are a little bit more of a hardy material. Um, but yeah, no issues so far. But we'll see. I mean, we'll be here for a while, so hopefully we don't run into any issues. But
Yeah.
we
And
always let people know.
are people, taking pictures, sharing them out? Have you had
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
tagging you?
We've had a lot of pictures. We've had a lot of photographers come in with like big honking cameras
Wow.
to
Well,
take
maybe you'll
pictures
get the
of
press
stuff.
will come in. It'd be
We
great if
actually
you get the
had we had Channel 5 ABC here actually
Oh,
on Monday. So
amazing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That'll help to
Channel
get the word out.
4. Yeah, yeah.
Channel 4, Minneapolis.
Yeah, yeah,
No,
yeah.
that'll definitely help, to get the word out. That's what you need.
Yes. So in here we have some pretty iconic stuff. We have Celine's costume here
Mhm.
from Underworld. Super cool. The back's really, really gorgeous and super iconic. I know I keep saying iconic, but
No,
whatever.
they are.
it
And I mean, this is like a very heavily cosplayed costume, like
is.
the cons,
Yeah,
like, this is like
yeah.
that. So it's leather, I'm assuming, right?
It is. Yeah.
And then
And I know
what's that detail then on the back? Is that like an
yeah, so this
applique?
it is an applique. I know we talked about this a little bit last time, but I believe this is one of the coats from the first films that they used and they reused for a later film. This was obviously a stunt costume because they have this felt on the back for easier movement for the stunt actor to wear.
Yes.
Um, and in the earlier films, she doesn't have this applique on the back. So this is an adhesive that they probably put on here just for quick action scenes for a later film that they reused it for. But still really cool to have anything from Celine and Underworld. So because these
William, just
these
a
coats
few
don't
more
go.
comments here. So
Yeah,
Kitty says, "It's Underworld."
it
But no,
is.
yes,
Woo!
it is. And Tom Baker, hi, Tom. He says it's all well presented. That's
Oh,
lovely.
thank you, Tom.
Yeah. And then
Yeah,
Carl says very vampy. No,
very
who's
very happy.
Kate Beckinsale. Was it Kate Beckinsale who played her?
It was Kate Beckinsale. Yeah,
That was like so iconic at the time.
it
Like just
was.
absolutely,
Yes, yes,
her whole look, her whole vibe. Because I know
yeah,
I think the closest comparison would have been Carrie Ann Moss in The Matrix, maybe that sort
yes,
of
yeah.
gothic look.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a great
Um,
find. Now, what about the boots? Did you have to get your own boots?
I did. Yep. So these are replica boots.
They're beautiful.
Yep. I also have the original screen used cat suit on here.
Mm.
Unfortunately, when I got it in, it completely disintegrated.
Oh,
Whoever had it before me did not take care of it.
mhm.
But still really cool to have the set. All I was missing was the corset. I had a local cosplay friend actually sell me her completely custom made corset. And I had the opportunity to purchase a prototype corset from the films at auction recently. And I was like, mine looks better, to be
Oh,
honest
yeah,
with you.
for sure.
So I was like, no need for it. But yeah, so super cool to have that. I love Celine. This
Mhm.
costume for me was one of the very first ones that I saw where I just fell in love with it. The way that she moves in this costume, the way that she flows around with that coat and these action sequences was just so cool and just so just captivating. So to be able to actually own this costume now is so cool. This has been one of my holy grails to acquire for a very long time.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm still over the moon because it's a recent acquisition. So
Amazing.
yeah, really cool.
And you have the
Uh,
Bill Nye one too, don't you?
Not yet. I'm paying that
Oh,
off. I had a
oh,
friend of
okay.
mine help
Okay,
me
that's gonna
purchase
be
that.
very exciting.
Yeah, I mean, with the opening of the museum, I had spoke to my friend and I
Oh,
was like,
oh,
buddy,
yeah, no, of course.
yeah. Yeah,
I
but
remember
that's
you shared some pictures of
yeah.
that with me.
Every proceed that I make from this is going to probably go directly to my friend for that, because it's been a year now that I had won that at auction that he helped me with. So
Oh,
that's on the
amazing.
docket. Here we have Wolverine's claws from X-Men, which is really cool.
Oh, that's very
Especially
cool.
with the new film coming up here in a couple of weeks. Um,
Absolutely.
so people have the opportunity to come and see an actual set of his claws
Mhm.
from one of the films. So
And I love that
um,
display cabinet. Beautiful.
thank you.
I mean, you've done such
Yeah.
care with your curating.
Thank you, Heidi. I
Yeah, and
appreciate that
William,
so much.
you don't even have a background on in this at all, right? This is just
I
very intuitive
don't.
to you. So you've just sort
Yeah.
of like it's just an intuitive thing. You've just sort of thought, how would I, if I was attending this museum or if I was going to this
Hmm.
museum, how would I think it would work best, right? So you've
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so this little section here, I was trying to figure out what I wanted in this little section.
Mhm.
And I figured the modern day stuff mixed kind of with the superhero stuff kind of worked. Initially, I was going to do all superhero stuff in here, but I don't have enough to fill up the space. And it was very empty in here. So I ended up putting these costumes from Spiderwick on display. And then Celine in the middle here. I had Celine in another room, and she just works so well here. And she matches Sister Night here from Watchmen, which just works really well. I actually should probably put Robin Hood over here too with his leather jacket, and just have like this be like the black leather jacket section.
Yeah. Well, you
Um,
know what? I like that you can walk around her, like 'cause some of them
yes,
you have their backs to the
yeah.
wall, but in
Well,
her case, because the back is so
yeah,
iconic, it's like it's like
yes,
you can actually
yeah.
do a 360 around it.
Yeah. There's a few costumes where they just have to be walk-arounds because,
Mhm.
the back is such an important part of the costume.
Yeah,
So yeah.
absolutely.
And then over here are two of my most recent acquisitions. I have more coming down the pipeline, but right now these are the two I have. These are costumes from the Umbrella Academy from Netflix.
Yes,
Their
one of
fourth
my
season comes out
favorites.
soon. Hmm.
And
Uh,
I'm gonna tell Christopher Hargadon
Please,
because I interviewed him.
yes.
I will
When
let
I
him
was
know.
Please, yeah. When I was researching what costumes to get, I watched your video, and I know he's talking about that pink dress that the handler wears, and the
Mhm.
different hats that they did. And I was almost going to purchase that because that went up to auction, because I wanted to use that clip of you guys talking about that costume, but. It's been very busy this year with auctions. We've obviously had the Umbrella Academy, and then there was an auction for The Crown, Westworld, obviously, and
Oh, yeah.
then there was a Planet Hollywood auction because Planet Hollywood closed down. And then obviously I got a bunch of stuff from a show called The Great, which you
Oh
probably
my
probably
gosh,
know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's 5. Is
it
that
is
5? Is
five.
that so
Yes, yeah, yeah,
and then
yeah.
the girl is, which is the girl's
That's
name?
Allison.
Allison,
Yep,
yes, okay.
yep. So
That's
I
like
got
from the 19 is that the 1950s? What or like when they're
1960s. Yep.
1960s, I should
Hmm.
say? Yes,
Yep.
okay.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Well, having 5,
That
that's huge.
iconic, iconic.
Absolutely.
Yes, 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 yes. I have Klaus, and I have the handler, and I have um, Luther coming down the pipeline here.
Oh,
So, and
does that come with his daggers? Oh, no, Luther's the one with
that
sorry,
was
Luther's the big guy.
Luther's the big guy. Yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
costume do you have of his?
His it's from season 2 and 3.
Okay.
It's the one that he wears in like the 60s, I think. So it's like the black jacket
Yeah,
with like the watch and like the gloves.
yeah,
But I was trying to pick one that I could fill the arms out, to make it really look like him.
sure.
Um, and that one it just seemed so perfect to be able to do that. So, and also he wore that in a lot of the episodes, specifically the one where Five goes back and meets his older self or whatever. Do you remember that episode?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna have to do a
So,
rewatch on season 3 because
yeah,
I think season 4 is coming out,
it
and
is August. Yeah,
yeah, in August, so I have to do a rewatch because it feels like it's been ages.
yeah,
But I'm really excited you have that. And then for 5, did you have to get shoes or did it come with the shoes?
yeah. It came with it. Yeah,
You're
so since it
kidding.
was since it was so recent, everything stayed together.
Oh,
So
that's amazing.
I even have Allison's shoes here and her belt. So
Wow.
it's impossible to get all of those elements
Absolutely.
usually.
Well, and Christopher, you might have saw from my video, he used to
Hmm.
be a vintage seller, so he used to sell vintage clothes. He had like
Yeah,
a massive collection. So I think some of the stuff they just, it was kind
yeah.
of crazy. He just went and sourced from all over the place, but I'm pretty sure the Umbrella Academy uniform, I'm pretty sure they were made, if I recall.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. These were made, and I'm pretty sure this is custom made because a lot of
Okay.
this stuff doesn't have a lining on it. So I'm gonna
Oh,
assume
okay.
that they,
Yep.
um, but yeah, still really cool.
Can I ask you a
And
question? Like,
yeah, of course,
the insides of the costumes are probably interesting too. Are there
they are.
oftentimes like
Hmm.
the
Yep.
either who made it or obviously the names of the characters are written on
Hmm.
the inside? So do you
Yes,
find that sort of a fun thing to look at that?
I do. Yeah. I also find it really fascinating. How like some productions will spend the extra time and money on the quality of the fabrics and also doing the lining of the interiors of the costumes because some shows don't. For example, for this, costume from Umbrella Academy, they obviously didn't, use the time to do the interiors, but I mean, it's not something you really see. Um, but then you have stuff from like The Great, which I'll get to in a little bit here, where they just spared no expense. I mean, my goodness, the interiors are just gorgeous. I'll show you some of those, and you
Okay.
never see it on screen. It's just for the actors to really feel, the costume. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Over here we have my collection of costumes from Watchmen. Um, don't have much from the show, but I really love the show and Regina King's portrayal of this character. Very simple costumes, but still pretty cool and something comic booky to offer comic book fans in addition to the
Mhm.
Umbrella Academy and obviously the Wolverine claws.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah, because they're all kind of, well, it was this a graphic novel? If
it
I
was,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. My husband watched the show. I didn't end up watching it, but I heard it was amazing.
sure, sure, sure. Um, but yeah, and then we go into our next section here. So I have to fix that, but we have the Series of Unfortunate Events collection in this next part here.
Okay.
Um, so I have, I believe, about 17 costumes from the show up
Oh,
on display here. I have five or four out of the five Esme costumes that I own up on display. This one's one of my favorites. We didn't have this one last time that we spoke.
so
Um,
great.
so great. I mean, look at this, fox head that they have here that
Mhm.
they made for this costume. So interesting.
Is
Um,
it faux fur?
it is faux fur,
Okay.
yeah. And then these heels are really cool because they have actual daggers attached to them
Oh
as
my
the
gosh.
heel.
Wow. And they're so
So
pointy as
so
well.
pointy. I mean,
How much
I
do
mean,
you
they'll
walk
cut
in
you.
those?
I I think that these were the FX versions. I
Oh,
don't think
okay,
these were
sure.
the actual ones that she walked in. 'Cause there is a
Oh,
scene where she
National says
throws it and uses
National
that
says
as
I have to
a
see The Watchmen.
oh
I
yes,
watched the movie. I watched the original. I just didn't see the TV show.
sure, sure, sure. And then obviously here's my placard for Cynthia Summers here. I
Mm.
said Cynthia Nixon. That's an actress, not a designer. But
Oh, you know what? I knew who you meant because she also did,
yeah,
she's also the designer for, what,
she did a lot of stuff. She's got a lot of credits here.
yeah, what's
Um,
the more recent one though?
Snowpiercer.
Well, Snowpiercer, but didn't she
Oh,
do
she did Last of Us.
The Last
Yeah,
of Us? That's it. Sorry, yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
follow her on Instagram. She follows me, I think, actually.
Oh,
She's
sure.
Canadian.
Oh,
So I
is
always want to shout
she?
out my Canadian. Her and Christopher are both Canadian. So I always want to, and
Okay.
Vincent. They're all Canadian.
Yeah, if you ever talk to her, you'll have to let her know that we love here over in
I will.
Minnesota.
I will. I mean, I don't know her, but maybe I'll send her a little message and
Sure,
see
sure,
the
sure.
response.
Um, but yeah, and then we have this just completely couture costume that she made for Esbe
Mhm.
Squalor here for season 2 with this very Napoleon-like hat here and this gorgeous cloak that she made out of faux fur. Super, super cool.
Amazing.
Um, and then I have my little villain section here with Carmelita Spats and some of Olaf's henchmen. And then, of course, Olaf's iconic costume from Series of Unfortunate
Yes.
Events,
And that
worn
was
by
played by
the Neil Patrick
Neil
Harris.
Patrick Harris. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He traveled
Um,
these things. Wow, you have
yeah,
so many.
I
Yeah,
do.
Ashley and Katie said so many as well. So that's got to be, it's so nice that they're all, you're able to, keep them together. Like,
Yeah,
the issue a lot of the times when stuff goes up for auction, it goes off into the wind, scattered
yeah,
across the world, right?
yeah,
And it's so
yeah.
nice that you could keep it all together like that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a little important to me, especially with some of the shows and films that I really love.
Hmm.
Especially with Anne. I mean, I had to keep them together. I mean, I have the only Matthew costume that ever sold, you know.
Hmm.
So it's important to me to get him and then get Marilla and Anne, and it's important for me to obviously have the Baudelaire children together and whatnot. And Mr. and Mrs. Poe, they all sold separately. So nice to keep the married couple together in
Absolutely.
the afterlife, as you will.
Now, where did you
Um,
get them? Sorry, I keep stopping and asking you
yeah,
so
no,
many
you're
questions.
fine.
If I'm annoying, I apologize, but it's just out of curiosity. Where did you get the
Hmm.
little platforms that all of the mannequins go on top of?
Oh my God, everywhere, Heidi. I mean, I would scour Facebook and auction sites for these guys every day. So a myriad of different places, oftentimes closing retail stores.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, everyone has got a kind of a different story. These ones I found on Craigslist. So just kind of everywhere. Over the past year or so.
Hi,
So,
Jackie. She says, "Love that coat." Jackie, do you mean
oh, thank
William's
you.
coat? Yeah, it's very. Is it houndstooth? What is it?
It is
Yeah,
houndstooth.
I
Uh,
love all your blended textures that you have.
thank you, thank
And
you.
I said to when actually Jackie when William first came on, I said, "Oh, you're wearing a hat. I was hoping you were wearing a hat."
Yeah,
Also,
it's kind of my signature piece.
yeah, Carl says something about I think that family. They're all members of Heidi's syrup squad. um, yeah, Carl's always teasing me about the maple syrup because we have a lot of that in Canada. Anyway,
Sure.
that's wonderful. What's the picture in behind there, like on the wall? You've got a couple of things on the wall. Oh, it's
Yeah,
cherubs.
it's cherubs. I just needed something back there, I didn't want a blank wall. So
Yeah,
that was one of my art pieces in my house that I decided to put up
beautiful.
there, just to fill up the space. And then I have some of the newspaper clippings and wanted posters from the show on the wall for people to see there as well.
Was that
Um,
black wall there already?
it was, yeah.
Oh, that's
Hmm.
actually that worked out really nicely because it's kind of
Yeah,
a nice feature wall.
yeah, especially for this next section that we'll get into here. Really, it
Okay.
works really well. Um, but yeah, so this next section is The Great, which is a show that I just adored. Me and Mason binged that show. Um, but Heidi, my phone's dying pretty quick here, so we might have to do a part two,
Sure, no
maybe
problem.
next week. But
Yeah,
I'm at
absolutely.
25%, so I probably have about 20 minutes or so. But
Okay, okay. No, that sounds
um,
good.
but yeah, so I have the biggest collection as far as I'm aware of costumes from The Great.
Hmm.
Everything else got sold to a rental house out in Madrid.
Oh,
Um, so really cool to be able to get any of this stuff. For me, this costume of Catherine, played by Elle Fanning, was a must-have for me.
mhm.
It's not often that I'm captivated by a costume that I just have to have. I literally erupted in tears when I won this at auction because
Wow.
it just
And look
was
at the
just such
blood.
an iconic. Yes, it's super. This is her war dress, Heidi. So
Yeah.
she killed a guy in this and went to war.
Wow.
And then of course we have her general Velementov
Mhm.
there and her handmaiden Mariel. Of course, I can't get
Oh,
everything from
Mariel
the
is amazing.
show, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And that's sort of her, like, she's in that costume for quite a long time.
Yeah, the entire first season she wears this
Yeah.
costume. So, and then of course, Velementov wears that the entire time too.
Yeah.
So,
Katie's the same. These are
um,
from season 1, I
these
think.
are from season one. Yeah. So it was
And then
important to me to get her like her counsel. I wanted to get Archie as well, but you know, can't get everything.
Jackie's asking if that's blood on the dress. I'm assuming it's fake
It
blood.
is. It's
Yeah.
fake blood. Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. But such a cool little added detail to the costume, I think. And
Yeah,
then one of the
absolutely
other
gorgeous.
costumes that I really loved in the show, when I was watching, I was like, I hope I can get this someday. I hope I can get this someday. Is this gorgeous coat worn by Nicholas Holt as
Oh my
Peter in the
lord. Yes.
show? And this is all
He's kind of a rock star in the show, right?
he is, and his costumes are just to die for.
Look at
And
that.
yeah, so this is one of the ones that I want to show you the interior on because you don't see it in
Okay.
the show. But
Okay.
look at this, Heidi. Look at all. I mean, it's
Oh my god.
just gorgeous, and it just feels like how it looks. I mean, it is. It's very
Like a
no
croc.
expense. Yes,
He's a
and it just
crocodile on the inside.
on the inside, it's like a lizard. Like he's
Like a
just
lizard.
crawling. Yes, and it's just so beautiful. And like
Oh,
even this vest here that he has,
oh my,
and even that has just a gorgeous interior that you just don't
yeah. Look at
see
that.
usually in costume design.
So
And
beautiful.
just the quality of the
And the
fabric is just
fur as
phenomenal.
well. Now, is that
Yeah,
faux fur though?
it is faux fur.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I'm
kind of
noticing that is sort of becoming a trend. And I think for good reason, you know,
yeah,
unless it's upcycled or something like that.
yeah. I know I've spoken with some of the designers for this show as well, and they, scoured places for vintage fabrics. So,
Mhm.
I don't know where they got this fabric, but it's just gorgeous.
What
And with
is
this
it? I can't
tapestry.
even tell what it is. Is it
Yeah, so when I watched the show, I thought it was a tiger, but
yeah,
it's
that's what I thought it
actually
was.
it's a pheasant. So it's just like
Ah,
dead pheasant. You can kind of see its
okay.
like beak here and then the
Wow.
plumage. And it almost looks like it's all like hand painted, but I don't know if it is. You can't really tell because that's
It's
just
so
the effect.
gorgeous.
It really
I
is.
don't even remember him wearing that. Was he wearing that hunting?
He was, yeah. He
Okay.
wore this a
Well, that
lot
makes
throughout the
sense then.
show.
He's wearing
Yeah.
he's wearing pheasants on his coat while he's hunting for
Yeah.
pheasants.
This is like hunting coat.
That's so
Um,
funny.
and then another fun one that I saw that sold really cheap was this one, and I just
Mhm.
thought it was so couture. So
Oh,
I just decided to
great.
get it because it just was so interesting with this like book, like paneling on the side. So interesting from a costume standpoint.
Absolutely.
Um, really
What
couture.
who's the designer on that?
Uh, Gosh, I
Putting
know
you on
her
the spot.
name. I want to say it starts with an S. I think it's Stephanie Long.
Mhm.
It's something Long. I think it's Stephanie Long.
Yeah, really
Or
incredible.
it's
That
Sharon Long.
Sharon
Sharon.
Long. Yeah, that looks like it
Yep,
was
yep,
hand
yep.
printed. Like or sorry,
Yeah,
they had it custom printed, I should
I
say,
think they
on
must have.
fabric.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
interesting. What do the words say?
Something French, I think.
Oh,
I
it's
don't
in
know.
French. Okay.
I think it is. Yeah,
Yeah, I love
interesting.
those. I love the book inserts. So
Mm-hmm.
that's very cool. Oh, that was
Um,
the Catherine's. Is that Catherine's?
yeah, it
Oh, I
is.
remember that dress.
Yeah, super iconic. She
Oh
wears
yeah.
this multiple times in season one.
Mhm. So
This
pretty.
is um, one of her signature costumes for sure.
Mhm.
Um, really, really pretty. One of my favorite characters in The Great was Aunt Elizabeth, um, played by the amazing Belinda Bromelo.
Mhm.
So it was important for me to get something of her. Unfortunately, they didn't sell much. They only sold 3 of her costumes. So this is one of the more iconic ones that they had up for sale. And one of the more complete ones with like the necklace and some of the brooches here.
Uh-huh. Well, it looks like
But just
is she
gorgeous.
holding a muff? I can't
She is holding a
oh,
muff.
okay.
Yeah.
I couldn't quite
Yeah.
figure out what it was. It's
Yeah.
very
Well, and
Russian
also
looking, right?
it is. Well, and it's a Russian show. I mean,
Mhm.
it's very influenced obviously by Paris fashions at the time, but
Mhm.
it was to take place in Russia. So it was important to me to get something that was very Russian
Yeah.
um,
So
in
beautiful.
style. And then we have another one of Catherine's costumes here from the first season. Um,
I think that might be when she is that when she arrives?
um, I'm not sure. It's not when she first arrives, but it's one of her earlier
Her
costumes.
earlier ones when maybe she's walking in the gardens or something.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Okay,
Yep.
sure.
Hmm.
I remember it. I have to go back and
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Um, beautiful, beautiful. And
Jackie
then,
says, "I just wish
yeah,
I had some excuse to dress like this now, or to dress like this."
I know it's so fun,
Yeah,
so
why can't we dress
delicious.
like that anymore?
I don't know. Um, but yeah, we have Miss Georgina here.
Mhm.
After I received the first few costumes from the show, I was like, I have to get more because they're just so well made and just so gorgeous. And so this was one of the ones that I decided to splurge on just to have another, iconic, French
So
style dress.
beautiful. Now, did it
Hmm.
come with the side cages or the
It
panniers?
didn't. It didn't.
So what
No.
did you
I
do
it's,
something?
I got a bunch on Amazon for like $20.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
'cause it looks like the proper
Yeah.
silhouette.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
mean,
I
it
wish
is. Yeah.
you know what I wish you had gotten because I just love them?
Hmm.
Remember they were wearing the wigs as hats?
Yes.
Remember they had the
Yeah.
like, I don't know how that all worked, but,
Yeah. It
yeah,
was
Amazon
very like
can rescue.
it was very Moira Rose inspired, I think,
Oh,
that from
by the way,
Schitt's Creek.
can I tell you a quick little story I found out today about
Sure.
Amazon? I know you're running out of time. There's, in House of the Dragon, there's,
Mm,
I think it's, Lena,
sure.
Valerian. She was wearing a necklace in, season 1, and apparently they bought it for $10 on Amazon.
Yeah.
It looks like it's, like, Byzantine or something, but no,
Yeah.
it was,
Yeah.
an Amazon purchase for
Yeah, they do
$10.
that a lot. I know, once used to buy a lot of stuff from Forever 21, a lot
Oh,
of their
yeah, I've bought
jewelry.
stuff from there. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
that. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting. But,
It is.
especially they have so many costumes as well. I think they just have a lot of costumes, whereas maybe in the Great, they only maybe have 2 or 3 per season, so they can put a
Hmm.
lot of money into that, whereas I know with Once Upon a Time, they always seem to have so many costumes.
Yeah. Well, and that was one of the last shows that had 22 episodes a season, right?
Yeah,
So
no one does that anymore, right?
no one does it anymore. I think once was the last show. I might be wrong, but because that ended in 2018, right? So right when
Absolutely.
like the streaming really took off.
And who's that
But
lovely gentleman there?
that would be the lovely Nicholas Holt,
Oh,
another
again, yes.
Peter costume.
Oh,
Hmm.
so good.
So, so
I love
good.
the mixture of, like, textures, like the floral, like, it looks like
Yeah.
something from, like, Miami or, Florida, and then you've
Yeah.
got it mixed with that more traditional.
Hmm. Very
Beautiful.
much so. Of course, they never wore anything like that back then, but that was
No, no,
part of
no,
the
no,
fun
that's
of the
what's so fun
costume
about the
design.
show though, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of like, The Favorite, or,
yeah,
that type of aesthetic. What
yeah,
about the
yeah.
rug, though? Where'd you get that rug?
I
That
got that
leopard,
on.
tiger.
I got that on a local auction site for $100. It's actually a zebra pelt, and
A
it's real
zebra.
zebra.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
beautiful.
I was gonna put that in another room that we'll have to get to maybe next week, but it just fits so well with these costumes and
Mhm.
just brightens up this display plaque really
Oh,
nicely.
no, I love it. I actually thought it was from the show, but, so
Oh,
there you go. It works so
no, but
well.
I mean that's exactly what they would do, in the
Yeah, for
show,
sure.
So
Yeah, maybe you'll get a bear eventually. Wouldn't that be fun to have
I
a fake bear?
I I may or may not already have one, but the
Oh,
bears,
okay, okay. There you go.
yeah,
See?
the bears in this next section here,
Okay,
which we'll get to now, is my Viking Hall.
okay.
So
So, just let me know when you're almost out of battery, and we'll just wrap it up, and
sure,
then,
sure.
if you guys are just joining, by the way, we're William Swift is giving us a tour of his new museum in,
Hmm.
Minnesota. Maple View,
Hmm.
Minnesota. And we're about, I don't know, not quite halfway through, I think.
Not even halfway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 15,000 square feet.
Hmm.
So he just
Um,
opened a week ago. And if you just came in, you can catch it on the replay.
yeah. This is, I think Midwest's only film museum. I mean, I might be mistaken, but I don't think I've seen anything like this anywhere up here. So if you're in Iowa or Wisconsin or anywhere kind of around here, come on by, come on
Yep,
up.
sure.
We have all kinds of cool stuff. So I'm
I'll put your Facebook group in the chat, or in the
sure,
description, so
please.
that people want to find you.
Yeah.
Go to Facebook
So
page.
yeah, please. Yeah, that'd be great. So I'm at about 15% now. So I think we should be able to get through Viking land here.
Okay.
Okay, but then we'll have to probably call it. It's been a busy day. I tried to charge
Absolutely.
my phone today before our thing, but here we
No
are.
worries.
But but yeah, so this little area is all of the more signature costumes from Vikings, which was a show on History Channel back in the day. Um, this costume here is incredibly iconic and is the most expensive thing in this entire museum.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, and Justin's not
uh,
even here. Justin, you here? This is his favorite character. Like
mhm,
the Goethe, right?
Lagertha.
Lurgus, I didn't
Um,
say it properly. Sorry. Jackie, no,
uh,
he's not on Twitter at the moment. You're not on Twitter, are you?
I'm not. I don't
Yeah,
have the tweeter.
he doesn't have the tweeter.
Uh,
But you're on Instagram yet? Are you on
I'm on
Instagram?
Instagram.
Okay,
I'm on
Instagram there.
Facebook.
Okay, I'll put Instagram
Yep,
there.
yep. Sure, sure.
Oh, Kitty's saying you mean one of the best shows ever? Sorry, I
One of
didn't
the
watch
best
it. That's
shows
why I don't know how to
ever.
say her name. But Justin's a huge fan.
But yeah, I love Lagatha. I think
Yeah.
that she was such a great character. So to be able to honor her with one of her more signature costumes from the show is really cool. And then she's flanked here with her shield maidens with Gunhild here with
Mhm.
her shield from the show, and also Torvi, another one of the shield maidens that were in Lagatha's private uh, court. So really cool to have those guys. The details on these Viking costumes are just insane. I mean, all of the riveting and the stitching and the chainmail and the riveting. I mean, they really spared no expense when it came to the design of these costumes. Joan Bergen was the costume designer for Vikings, and she just did such a great job at making these costumes and really changing the cultural understanding of what Vikings are. Before Vikings, people thought of Vikings wearing those big horned helmets. And
Mhm.
now when people think of Vikings, they think of this leather armor, which is so
Yeah.
interesting that a TV show can change the way that an entire society thinks about a whole culture. It's very interesting. Of course, they never wore anything anywhere near
Yeah,
this at all. But just very fascinating that a show can
absolutely.
do that.
I have to say,
Um,
by the way, first off, Justin's back. Yay,
Hi, Justin.
Justin, because Justin said he knew I was talking about him. But also, I think a lot of the leathers are from Delesiano. They're like these Italian leather makers, and they do all of The Witcher and all those shows. They do that
Hmm.
really amazing texture. You know
Hmm.
what, William? I'm going to send you their sample books, and then I bet you'll be able to
Please.
sort of find. But I know
Yeah.
that they do a lot of these custom leathers for a lot of the big shows, because
Mm.
it looks like their work. They did Game of Thrones as well.
Oh, sure, sure, sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but just absolutely
I've,
beautiful.
yeah, I've yet to find this kind of craftsmanship anywhere else. I mean, you try and go on Etsy and you don't find anything near this at any capacity. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just so well done. So well done. So around this little corner here, we have Ivar the Boneless,
Mhm.
his costume from season 5 of the show.
Oh, it's so
One of
gorgeous.
so gorgeous,
And of
and
course,
I even got his
he's the one from the
braces
Hunger
here.
Games, right? Uh,
Oh no, that's Bjorn.
oh,
That's
Bjorn. Okay.
Bjorn. Yeah, yeah. I don't have anything of Bjorn. I have a friend of mine who has a couple of his costumes
Oh,
that I'll
yeah.
be putting on display here, hopefully in the next couple months. So
Yes, I think
um,
that must be where I saw that. It must have been your
yeah, 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 yep, yep, yep. Um, so yeah, and then over here we have Floki,
Mhm.
his armor from the show. He wears
Yes,
this
one of
throughout
the
season 1
Skarsgård.
and season 2, one of the Skarsgårds.
Yeah.
And he's actually reunited in this room with his brother
Yeah.
Alexander here. They say
Amazing.
they face each other and they're Viking characters,
That's
which is
so
kind of
great.
cool.
Wow,
Uh-huh. And
Alexander. Oh my gosh, amazing.
yeah, and
Well,
I
I
think you
really
did a
appreciate
video on Northman.
I did.
I,
I did a yeah.
yeah,
And again, the costume
yeah,
designer's Canadian.
yeah.
What's going
A
on
lot of
here? You got all
Canadian.
these Canadian designers
I do, and actors too.
and actors, yeah.
Um,
That's amazing.
so yeah, so these two costumes here are from the Northman, obviously played by Alexander Skarsgård, and then Nicole Kidman here, his mother
Yeah.
in the film.
That scene where she wears that costume to me was kind of horrifying.
It was,
Yeah,
yeah,
it was, and then when she splatters, like at first when I saw that costume, I was like, "What's going on with that costume?" And then when you see it in the scene and she's splattering the blood
yeah,
sacrifice, oh my gosh,
hmm
like a pagan ritual,
um,
Viking ritual.
very much so. And there's still some blood on here too from that.
Mhm.
So you can
Yeah,
see that
there you
there's
can
all
see
this
it.
spotting, but if you get in right here, you can tell that this is actually the blood that they use because it's a
Mhm.
different color from the spotting of the fabric. So really
Yeah, because
interesting.
when I first saw the costume before I'd seen the film, like they had released it, I was like, "What's going on with that costume?" And then when you
Yeah,
see it in the film, it's very horrifying.
yeah,
Alexander's costume looks like it's really broken down, and like
hmm
they've distressed it, I guess, because this is when he would have been.
very much
Uh,
so.
I'm trying to remember what scene
Yeah.
is that from?
This is from when he sneaks into his mother's quarters to kill her,
Yeah.
I think.
So
And so,
he's a slave, like he's been bought,
yeah, yeah. He
and
wears this outfit for a lot of the third act of the film.
mhm,
So yeah, a lot of breakdown. I mean, you can see here all of the sweat stain that they kind of did, the discoloration here. And then obviously down here, you can see how spotted it is and broken down.
mhm.
So a very simple costume, but there's a lot of detail that goes into even a simple costume
Yeah, and
like
the
that.
fact that I was gonna say Eric Northman, which they named it the
Yeah,
Northman apparently because of Eric Northman, but the fact that Alexander Skarsgård wore that and Nicole
yeah.
Kidman, it would be great if you could have one of the Anya Taylor-Joy costumes. I wonder if that will come
I
up at some
I
point.
could possibly get one, but
Oh,
I don't know if I need another just like peasant dress.
well, I'm
But
just
yeah,
saying
I
because
could
she
get it.
had this one that had the most beautiful embroidery on it. It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
gorgeous,
It
and
was like the red.
the
Yeah,
red, yeah, that one.
yeah. But yeah, so here's the main hall here,
Mhm.
with a throne there from the show, which is Ragnar's throne.
Oh my gosh, look at
Um,
all the shields you have.
hmm and those are from the show, with the exception of the Legacy shield in the middle.
Mhm.
Um,
And the
we have
banners, did you get those as well from auction?
Yeah, so those are all production made banners.
Oh my god,
Um,
amazing.
these two are Bjorn banners, and then these two are Legacy banners from the show. A buddy of mine recreated this like platform stand to be able to display these flags on them.
Mhm.
Really, really cool. And then one of my biggest set pieces that I have from Vikings and just in general is I have Ivar's chariot here from
Oh
uh,
my god, where were you
season six
keeping this
in
before
my
you had the
backyard.
Oh, and how did
Yeah.
you get it there?
We drove down to Chicago to pick it up.
Oh my gosh.
So a lot of the interior here. But Heidi, I'm at 5% now, so I think we're
Okay,
gonna have to
yeah,
wrap
so
it
why don't
up.
we just say a quick maybe we can pick up I like next weekend
Yeah,
is a long
please.
weekend in Canada, but I could do a weeknight or we could, whatever
Sure.
works best
Yeah.
for you. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you wanna just do a quick, like, wrap up about here, I'll just come back on here now that, how do we there we go. Hey, I'm back. Hi, everyone. Well, oh my gosh, William, thank you so much for giving us so you think that
Yes.
was 50% of the tour?
Uh, I would say so. Yeah. There's a
Oh,
lot
okay, great.
more.
So
Yeah.
we'll do another one, and then this week we'll
Yes.
figure out a date. But anyway, just tell everybody a little bit about the museum and how they can find you, and I'll try to add
Sure.
everything to the description.
Yeah, so you can find us on Facebook at Enchanted Fantasy Film Museum. Right now, we don't have a website or anything like that, but if you're local and want to check it out, we're open Wednesdays through Sundays from 10 to about 7. And we'll be here all day. Come on by. This is America's biggest collection of film costume on display right now. So, really cool.
And you do tours, or I guess you like you can do groups, like group tours would
Yep,
be,
yep, yep,
if
yep.
people want
And
to do that.
it's $15 for adults, 10 for kids. And then it's free for kids 5 and under. So,
Amazing. Yeah.
mhm.
And anyway, so William, what we'll do is we'll add everything in the description below. I also want to thank
Sure.
Mason so much. Thank you so
Yes.
much,
Thanks,
Mason, for doing
Mason.
the camera. Yay! There he is. Thanks, Mason. Thanks so much, William. So I'll let you guys go,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
we'll connect very soon. Thanks, everyone,
Yeah,
for coming
please.
tonight. It was a
Yeah,
little
thank you.
impromptu, really fun little tour that we got to have. Virtual tour. All right. Bye,
Yeah.
everybody. Bye, William.
Bye. I'll see you soon.
See you soon.